Today, we are really peeling back the layers on a decision that way too many people take lightly, getting a dog.
Hmm.
But not just any dog. We're focusing on two incredibly powerful high-drive breeds, the ancient Indian Rajapalayam and, of course, the world-famous German Shepherd.
And our whole deep dive today is, well, it's really built around this single, incredibly honest resource we found. It's called the Rajapalayam and German Shepherd Comparison Guide.
And it's not your typical, aren't they cute breed profile.
Not at all. It's basically a brutal owner suitability test. The guide's mission, and ours today, isn't to figure out which dog is better. They're both amazing animals. It's about forcing you, the potential owner, to really look in the mirror and figure out which of these demanding breeds your life can actually handle.
Exactly. And the source, it doesn't pull any punches. Right from the start, it hits you with this warning that we just have to unpack. It says, both breeds punish lazy owners.
Yeah, that line really stood out.
The metaphor they use is perfect. They say choosing one of these dogs is like buying a superbike and then complaining that you have to pay attention to the road. You're buying into the speed.
You are. Because these are high-performance animals. I mean, they were bred for serious work, like guarding a fort or patrolling a border. You can't just bring that level of genetic intensity into your living room and expect it to act like a throw pillow.
Right. If you do, the consequences are pretty severe for the dog's sanity and, frankly, for your furniture.
And your own peace of mind.
Okay, so let's get into this commitment, starting with their basic temperaments. This is really the root of all the differences, right? Let's start with the Rajapalayam. The source paints a picture of this old Indian hunting and guard dog. Very lean, very fast.
Yes. And its whole personality is defined by this mix of fierce loyalty and, well, intense suspicion. The Rajapalayam is naturally aloof, almost disinterested in anyone who isn't part of its immediate family.
So not a dog that's going to greet guests at the door with a wagging tail.
Not at all. The guide is clear. It's incredibly loyal to its people, but it is not cuddly by default. You are not getting a Velcro dog here. You have to earn its affection, its presence.
Which is a huge contrast to the German Shepherd, the GSD. That dog was bred for work herding, police, military, and that history baked in this intense eagerness to please.
Exactly. The GSD is brilliant, but it channels that intelligence into figuring out what you want and then doing it. It's actively looking for your direction, for your validation.
So if the Rajapalayam is like the quiet, independent specialist.
Then the GSD is the eager, top-of-the-class apprentice, just waiting for the next command.
Okay, so what does that actually mean for an owner, especially someone new to high-drive dogs? Because on paper, independence and eagerness both sound like great traits.
It completely changes how you have to manage them. With a GSD, your job is to constantly give it a job. You have to provide structure, novelty. But the Rajapalayam, with its independent mind, you need firm, consistent leadership from day one. You're establishing yourself as a leader, not just a friend.
And if an owner gets lazy, this is the core of the warning. How does that punishment look different for each breed?
Well, if you get lazy with a German Shepherd, it sees a power vacuum. It immediately invents its own job.
And that job is probably not organizing your sock drawer.
No, that job is chewing through drywall or stress barking at every leaf that blows past the window. It becomes busy, but in a very destructive, anxious way.
And the Rajapalayam, the source says if you get lazy, it runs the house. How does an aloof dog do that?
Because that independence is tied to a powerful, ancient guarding instinct. If you're not leading, it steps up. That means it decides who's allowed on your property. It decides where it's going to sleep. And because they're so suspicious, that usually means you get a dog that's dangerously reactive to anyone outside the family because it's taken over security and it's not consulting with you.
Wow. Okay. It just starts acting on pure instinct.
Pure instinct. No human oversight.
This is where it gets really fascinating. When we dig into training, they're both smart dogs, but the source makes this really crucial distinction between intelligence and drive.
Right, they're not the same thing. Let's talk about the GSD first, which the guide calls the training machine. This dog loves learning complex tasks. It's what makes it so trainable.
But that's also its vulnerability, isn't it?
It's a huge double-edged sword.
Yeah.
That same brain makes them incredibly prone to boredom and anxiety if you don't keep it busy.
The guide says a poorly trained GSD can turn into an anxious, reactive mess that bites out of nerves. I mean, is that a little dramatic? Can't basic obedience classes fix that?
You'd think so, but the source really insists that the risk is real. Basic obedience is. It's just scratching the surface. A working dog needs to feel saturated mentally. If you pair that high drive with inconsistent discipline, the dog just gets frustrated.
And they're smart enough to pick up on their owner's weaknesses.
Instantly. The nervous biting isn't malice. It comes from this internal conflict of wanting a job but having no clear structure. It leads to this high, generalized anxiety, which can then spill over into reactivity.
So for the GSD, it's all about the owner providing constant, engaging work, like managing a brilliant but demanding employee. How does the Rajapalayam compare on the training front?
Rajapalayam can be trained very well, but the source is blunt. It won't jump through hoops just to impress you. Its cooperation is earned through respect and patience, not this desperate need for your approval. You teach a GSD a trick for fun. You teach a Rajapalayam something because it serves a function.
And with that independence, socialization has to be just absolutely critical.
It's non-negotiable. If a Rajapalayam doesn't get wide-ranging positive exposure to new things, new people, new sounds during that critical puppy window, its natural suspicion it can spiral into real fear or even aggression.
So at the GSD, the risk is anxiety. With
Yeah.
Rajapalayam, the risk is aggression.
Exactly. Aggression tied to that deep-seated guarding drive. The margin for error is tiny.
So the takeaway for you, the listener, is that owning either of these dogs is daily mental labor. It's not just a 20-minute walk. It's setting aside real time every single day, even when you're tired, to do structured training.
That's the whole point. That intelligence is a huge responsibility. You have to meet that need for stimulation, or that powerful brain starts working against you.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit to lifestyle. We've established the mental labor. What about the physical side? The living space, the exercise? What's the demand there?
The source is really clear here.
Yeah.
The phrase daily walks is basically meaningless for both of them. They both need heavy physical exercise, and it has to be combined with mental work.
A 20-minute walk is just a warm-up.
Barely. For the GSD, as we said, it needs that task-oriented stuff drills, fetch, scent work. But the Rajapalayam, its needs are more about pure space and velocity.
What do you mean by velocity?
This dog is built like a sighthound, like a greyhound. It's designed to run fast over long distances. The guide is brutal here. It essentially says that apartment life is a form of punishment for this breed. Unless, that is, the owner can commit to hours every single day of intense off-leash running in a safe place. We're not talking a jog, we're talking sprints.
That makes sense, given the hunting background. Okay, let's talk about climate and health, because this is where the financial commitment really comes into focus.
It really does. The Rajapalayam is built for Indian heat. It handles it well, and generally it has fewer genetic problems if you get one from a good source.
That's a big if.
A very big if. But the German Shepherd, well, it can live anywhere, but it needs serious heat management in hot climates. And the big one, it's globally famous for crippling hip and elbow dysplasia.
And the guide connects this directly to how easy they are to find, right? People buy cheap puppies from backyard breeders who don't do any health screening.
This is the financial reality check.
Yeah.
The GSD is so popular that the market is flooded with poorly bred dogs. A cheap puppy now often means an incredibly expensive medical nightmare later.
We're talking thousands a year, right?
Oh, easily. Thousands in vet bills, special food, surgeries, just to manage the pain. You absolutely have to budget for major veterinary intervention.
And the financial risk for the Rajapalayam.
It's a different kind of risk. It's a risk of authenticity. The dog might be cheaper up front, but finding a genuine purebred one is incredibly hard. A lot of sellers just pass off any skinny white dog as a Rajapalayam.
So you might pay for something that looks the part, but doesn't have the stable temperament of a true, well-bred one.
Exactly. So you have two different threats. With the GSD, you risk known, expensive genetic problems. With the Rajapalayam, you risk total uncertainty about its lineage and behavior.
Okay, a huge reason people get these dogs is for security. Let's talk about guarding. How do they stack up?
The source draws a really clear line here between the Rajapalayam's natural instinct and the GSD's trained reliability. The Rajapalayam is, the natural-born guardian. It doesn't need to be taught to protect its territory.
And it's not overly dramatic about it. The guide says it warns, then acts.
Right. Which makes it an incredible security dog if you genuinely need that kind of raw, intense defense. But that intensity is the catch. The source warns it's a terrible choice if you don't have the confidence and consistency to manage it.
Because that impulse to act can be hard to override.
Almost impossible if you haven't established rock-solid control from the very beginning.
And the German Shepherd, on the other hand, is an excellent guard, but the guide always adds the same phrase.
With training.
Right.
Because of that eagerness to please, you can channel its guarding instincts. It's far more controllable, more predictable. But we come back to that same vulnerability. That same highly tuned brain is the one that's most likely to become neurotic and unstable if it's mishandled.
So the trade-off is pretty clear. The Rajapalayam offers this raw, natural security if you can handle the power. The GSD offers a more controllable guard dog, but only if you commit to lifelong training and mental maintenance.
The guide basically forces you to ask yourself, are you better at managing raw intensity, or are you better at maintaining rigorous daily discipline? That's really the choice.
Okay, let's bring this deep dive to a close and summarize the guide's final owner suitability test.
It's a really clean breakdown. It says you should pick a Rajapalayam if you live in a hot climate, have a lot of space-like, actual acreage needs, serious natural security, and, this is the big one, you don't expect a fluffy, cuddly entertainer. You have to respect its independence.
And on the flip side, pick the German Shepherd if you are genuinely prepared to train and provide mental enrichment every single day without fail.
Yeah.
And if you can afford the very real potential for high vet bills.
And if you want a versatile working dog that thrives on constant instruction.
Yeah. The source's whole point is that knowing breed stats is just academic. The only thing that matters is knowing yourself. Knowing if your life, your schedule, your commitment can actually support one of these animals.
They are emotional and physical machines, and they require maintenance. One is mostly psychological maintenance, and the other can be both.
It's probably the highest stakes decision in pet ownership. Instead of asking which dog is better, the guide is screaming, am I a serious enough owner for this kind of dog?
Which leads us to that final provocative thought for you to think about. Before you commit to one of these demanding animals, are you honestly prepared to vet your own lifestyle, your schedule, and your own discipline as thoroughly as you would vet a top-tier breeder?
Because the guide insists that the owner is the real variable in this equation.
Mm-hmm. And if you fail to provide that structure, the dog will teach you exactly why they're called working breeds.